Okay, this recipe is for the creamy white bean soup with a remoulade garnish. I'm going to start off by showing you guys what a leek looks like. It looks like a giant green onion or a scallion. Okay, we're really going to only use the white part in this scenario, so you can cut this off. In some restaurants, you'll actually use this part for braising. It's a little tough, but when you braise this, it actually is really good. We'll go ahead and compost that. And we will also cut this in half. Now, the way leeks grow, they're very dirty. They're like onions, but the way they grow in the dirt. And so there's a lot of dirt in the layers. So you want to make sure you wash it really well. And handy dandy, I have one washed already. And so you're gonna, after you wash it and it's all nice and clean, you're gonna go across and slice it, and it will be just like that. You don't have to worry too much about what size and if it's a specific size, because you're going to be blending this soup. It just needs to be consistent so that it cooks evenly. So we have our leeks that are sliced. We went ahead and minced our garlic. Okay, or you can rough mince them. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then you have a parsnip. Parsnip is just like a carrot, but it's white. You're going to want a parchment paper. You're going to take the peeler and go ahead and peel it just like you do a carrot. And I always lay down parchment paper when I peel because it allows for easy cleanup. And there's a very distinct like root smell to parsnip. It's actually very fragrant. As you peel it, you will actually smell it. So, and then we want to go ahead and put the peel in the compost. Set it aside if we need to do any other peeling for any other recipes for that day. And then we'll just lightly take the outer top off as well as the end. You use a lot of parsnips for like if you need a carrot but you don't want the carrot color. So hence why we're not using a regular carrot, because then we want the white bean to be pronounced and the carrot would make it orange. As well as if you wanted some stock, you can also make white stock really clear by using a parsnip instead of a carrot. This one I would just say like slice it up. Okay, and then go ahead and go across with your knife. And then just cut it consistently so that they're about the same size for all the pieces. And then this way they cook evenly, and then they cook fast too because they're nice and small. It does cook just like a carrot, so you definitely need to cook it a little bit because it is a root vegetable. So we have the parsnip, and then we'll have the celery. I went ahead and washed it and then also took off the ends for any of the browning. Same thing, you'll cut it to half of it, because you can only cut something that's half the size of your blade. And so you will cut it into strips and then cut it into strips, and then you'll go across with your knife. Again, the cut doesn't need to be perfect because it will be blended, but you do want consistency. So as long as they're about the same size as your parsnip and the leeks that you have cut, it will all cook around the same time. Next, I wanted to show you guys how to make a sachet. You will have a box of cheesecloth. It'll come in a box, but here's a small one to show you guys. This one is a little too big, so we're going to go ahead and cut it. Now, when it is in the box, what you can do is just fold it like where you want to cut it. And then this way you're not trying to cut like paper. You don't want to cut like paper because it's harder to cut. So this way you just open it back up and it's all set. We'll put this one aside. We do a sachet to keep any ingredients that we want from out of the soup to make it easier. It's intact now, this rosemary, but when you put it in the soup and it cooks and it adds flavor, the leaves start to fall off the stem. And we don't want the leaves when we blend because it will turn the soup green. But if you put it in a sachet like we're doing right now, it will hold all the flavor and then as well as add flavor to the soup without adding the leaves. and then you don't have to pick all the leaves out at the end. So you just wrap it. You have some butcher twine that you cut off, and I just go around the sachet, and then you just tie a knot. And then we'll be putting this in the soup when it's cooking. Let's go ahead and start the soup. We have a pot right here. We're going to turn it on. We're going to add some olive oil, a thin layer of it, and we want to saute the leeks and garlic. The leeks we went ahead and sliced, and so once the pan is hot, we will go ahead and saute it. Now that the oil is hot, we'll go ahead and add our leeks. They're just like onions, so you want to cook them for a little bit and make sure they turn translucent. They do take a long time, even though they're thin, it takes a while for them to break down. And then you're going to add your garlic once you sauteed the leeks. And let that cook a little bit. You might need to add a little oil at this point because the vegetables may have absorbed all of the oil. Okay, the garlic's been sauteing for a while now. We're going to go ahead and add the celery and the parsnip and saute it a little bit more. You may need to turn down your heat. With every new vegetable, you might need to add a little bit oil, and then we'll just let this cook you can add the sachet and then the salt. We always want to season as we go. And then we will let this cook for a while until tender. It's been about 5 minutes now of it sauteing, and so it looks pretty good. It's very fragrant. You should be able to smell all the vegetables. We want to add some pepper. Not too much because we're trying to make it a white bean sauce. You'll add your beans that have already been drained, and then you add your sauce. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and put a lid on them, and then we'll let it cook. Check periodically every 5-10 minutes. We're gonna do the gremolata while the white bean soup is cooking. We went ahead and minced up our parsley. All you want to do with your parsley though is when you get it whole like this, you're just gonna take the leaves off, and there's usually two areas. So the two on the bottom and the one on top, and you're just gonna pick all the leaves. And then once you're done picking all the leaves, you'll do a rough chop / mince to the point where it looks like this, and then your parsley is all set. Next, you're going to take a microplane. You're going to get one of these from me. Grab a bowl, okay, and you'll have 5 grams of garlic, which is usually about 1 or 2 cloves depending on the size, and you want to microplane the garlic first. And I usually cut nubs off when I mince garlic, but with the microplaning I'm holding on to the nub, so that's why I'm not cutting it off. And then you'll go all the way down. Second garlic clove, you want to microplane. And this gives a really fine texture to the garlic, but of course still adds the flavor that you want to the gremolata. Give it a little tap to get all the excess garlic out. Next, you want to do, in the same bowl with the same microplane, a lemon. Make sure you wash this and dry it, and then when you microplane a lemon, you're lightly rotating it so that you get a strip like that. Turn it a little bit, same thing, and you'll go like this all the way till all the zest is gone. Now the zest is just the bright yellow part. When you get to this dull white, that's the pith, and you don't want that. So please don't try to go all the way to the lemon flesh. You just want the lemon zest. Okay. And then after this zesting, I'm going to show you a trick on how to juice it. Okay, since you're only doing 1 lemon, there's no point in using like a juicer or anything like that. You'll cut it in half. You'll put your strainer, you'll take your lemon, and then you'll just squeeze it so it collects all the lemon seeds. If your lemon is really hard, you can take a pair of tongs and just squeeze it between the tongs. and that will juice your lemon for you. And then you can actually just swipe your finger across the flesh and it will get all those membranes out. You can go ahead and squeeze it the other direction and do the same thing again. Okay. And then you want the juice of half a lemon, so you're all good with the half. You'll add the parsley. I always do the garlic and the lemon zest and the lemon juice first, because then you can have the garlic lightly pickle in the lemon juice, and so it takes away that like rawness. So once you add the parsley, and then lastly it's the oil, and you can do it all in one bowl. You don't have to do it in multiple containers. You'll tear the bowl and then you'll just add 50 grams of olive oil. Okay. Give it a little stir. And all while you're doing this, the soup is cooking. Okay. And you're gonna season 5-finger pinch of salt, 2-finger pinch or 3-finger pinch of pepper. Give it a stir, taste it, make sure it tastes good, and then you're all set and set aside for when you're done making your soup. Okay, the soup has been cooking about 40 minutes, and we want to go ahead and take the sachet out. You can press it up against the pot so that it gets all the excess liquid out. We're going to set it to the side and throw it away. You want to go ahead at this point to taste the soup and make sure it tastes well, good. And there should be liquid, enough liquid for the blending of the soup. And you have your blender. Okay. Go ahead and add the contents to the blender. Make sure anytime you're handling the handles that you're using a dry blue towel. It is very important at this point that if you have the VitaPrep plugged in, that this button's on variable and not on high. If it's on high, it will automatically go on high no matter what the number is. So the variable will let you choose the speed that you'd like, and you want it on the lowest setting, and then you want it on off. So you have your soup that's filled in the VitaPrep. You want to put the lid on. It is hot, so there will be pressure that's building when you start blending. So just keep in mind, you might want to loosen the top a little bit. Make sure it's on variable, always double check. Okay, and you're going to turn it on. Okay, so we've been blending it on high for quite a bit now, and we'll go ahead and take it off the base. You want it about this smooth. And at the end of it, we want to add a splash of olive oil. It's for flavor, texture, brightness. And then you'll use your ladle. The trick to using a ladle is holding it like a pencil at the middle, and that will help you with more control. Okay, and then give it a little stir. Then you have your gremolata. Okay, and then you'll go ahead and do a couple drizzles. And then that's how you serve your soup.